In this video I have a Rover Jumbo colour television / monitor. Not sure when these actually came out. Have we got a date or anything on this? Probably not. Probably mid to late 80s or something like that. This is a little 10-inch colour TV. Basic, just manual tuning. Speaker on the side. A bit of ventilation on the top, I guess. I did have a date code on it. We'll look at that in a minute. For something, not sure what that label was. It's an ACN 8109, 10-inch or 25.4 centimetre, made in Taiwan, double insulated. Oh yeah, there is a date code. Is that a week in? Is that 1988? I think week 50 possibly. Yeah, it's 8850, so it could be going on Christmas in 88, but not 100% sure about that, but that does sound about the right era for something like this, especially if it's Taiwanese made as well. And this one was actually my TV at some stage anyway. I just kept this one because it's handy for doing antenna jobs, especially out in the country where I am, where you can actually have a look. Even if you've got a strong signal, there's often bad ghosting and stuff. We were in a bad patch for a long time. Couldn't get the commercial channel very well, mainly because of ghosting. There was strength there, but so it wasn't snowy, but it was very, very ghosty, sort of going over the back of the hills and stuff. So, and lots of other hills down the valley to bounce the signal off and give it lots of ghosting. ABC was pretty good. SBS was non-existent. And it wasn't until digital TV that we could actually, and even for digital TV this is handy, like my neighbour up the road can't really get it very well, and we had to actually bounce it off another hill, so point an antenna at a hill that then got the main signal bounced off it, and it was pretty good. It did drop out a little bit here and there. Now I've got a UHF translator, so it's all fine now, but it's always handy to have something to test the picture on, and this sort of got shoved in the garage and buried under some other stuff. I forgot I even had it there for a while and found it again. So it's basically the second CRT that I actually kept. It was almost involuntary that I kept this one because I didn't know I had it. Possibly I would have got rid of it otherwise. It probably would have just ended up on the tip, buried somewhere, which would have been a bit of a waste. Luckily it survived. And since I found that one again, in more recent times, I came across another one at the tip shop, probably about the only second one I've ever seen these things. That's a nice red one. Unfortunately, handle's missing, speaker grill's broken out, quite faded. What on earth are those marks? Looks like an octopus or giant squid's been at it. Something that's probably been sitting in another, could have been one of those suction cups on one of those rabbit ear antennas. Maybe it was sitting somewhere in someone's shed with stuff sitting on it sideways. I haven't actually checked if it's the same model. That one should be working. This one, I believe, someone's written something about the channels. ACN 8109, I think that's the same model. It'd have to be more than likely. But this one I think had a small picture or something. So it's got like a power supply problem. It's an 8835. There's all the quality control people have put their stamps on there. So most likely made in 1988, a bit earlier in the year, 35 weeks in. So it'd be good to have a look at both of these together. I guess I better check that one still works. This one's a little rough, but it's kind of cool to see a red one. I didn't even know they made them in red ones until I came across this one. So let's turn this on and see if it still works. It was working last time I tried it. I can hear something. I can hear vertical coming out of the speaker. Can't actually hear horizontal, but it sounds like the vertical's going. Well, vertical's sort of going. Or is that just a vertical hold or something? What are we on? AV input maybe? Yeah, we're on monitor. Colour, contrast, brightness. Do we even have a vertical hold on this thing? Well, it's not really working all that well. Don't have any hash sound out of that, so there we go. That's starting to get, I'll wobble it around enough. You can start to see some snow. Still a low picture. There we go. Have we got any... Don't hear any audio, but the speaker's running. Oh, we've got a buzzing sound. It's probably a bit of vertical. Got high and low tone. Oh, that's a bit disappointing. It's been a while since it's been used, so... I'd say the tuner's doing something. Maybe has this got a standard antenna socket? No, only a little one. Pretty loose antenna socket on it. On VL. Not looking good. UHF, VH, VL. No sign of an image there. So something's up with it. No, not tuning, and we've got no audio. Should be a hash sound coming out of the tuner, though that could be this dicky switch on the back. Yeah, not really. No sign of it tuning anything. Video in. I've lost all image. Yeah, video in is just a very dark picture. Well, it doesn't work anymore, that's for sure. Alright, let's have a look inside this thing. Looks like there's a couple of screws underneath into the chassis or something, though one's missing. And a couple on top. Yeah, I can feel something heavy on the back. That's a Samsung tube in it. There's lots of wires snagging on the yoke and stuff. Oh god, we've got corrosion in here. He's actually snapped the Aquadag band, I think, off the tube. And someone's got a wire going over the neck board. That's handy. Now we're getting something here, transformer on the back. That's our speaker. So this might be suffering corrosion or something. 2 pins for the power. What is that? That's the antenna. That's another pin. So that's near the antenna socket, not surprisingly. Yeah, this did sit in the shed for a long time. And looks like a huntsman left his skin behind when he was small enough to fit in there. Yeah, there's the spring. And that, whatever it was, what on earth, it's actually corroded right through. So this must have been, oh no, we've got the yoke wedges. Hope they haven't gone all corrosive. That could be what that is. Or it's just been sitting in the shed for so long in the damp and cold. Yeah, a few of the caps have got some pretty shrunken plastic on them. But yeah, I better check these wedges because these could be the dodgy ones, probably bound to be. And we're going to have to fix that earthing for the tube. Ugh, that just broke off. Oh. Oh yeah, that's not a good sign. Let's hope it hasn't damaged the yoke. But that wouldn't be causing a vertical fault because it's usually because it's the horizontal of the yoke that's on the front, where these things push up under. But these are another TV with bad wedges. They haven't necessarily gone oily, but the fact that there's the shape of the metal in there is not a good sign, but they're gone brittle. And the fact there's a bit of wire corroded through where it touched one of them, they do have a bit of brown glue on them too by the look of it. Although this is corroded everywhere. My God, what happened to it? This must have been very damp in here. That's what happens when things get left in a damp garage for too long. Well, let's just rejig this a bit. I just want to make sure we got some earthing going on. I might just twist if it doesn't break off. At least that's up against the tube a bit. Let's get rid of that metal spring that's broken. Don't want that falling off of the side things. That'll do for the minute. I can probably solder that on or something. Hopefully there's no green stuff growing on the yoke where those wedges were. Yeah, let's have a look at the rest of this set. Don't need to unscrew that plastic bit. It does have screws in the frame. Should have a clip. There's a couple of clips down the front by the look of it, going through the board from the front panel. Well, they really do hold it. There we go. Of course, lift one and the other one clips back on. Take your mind. Oh, she's coming. Oh, the knobs. Yeah, forgot the knobs. So let's check for knobs on things. It's an ACN 8109B board. AN5512 output for the vertical. Tie YIH 94. Don't know if that means anything. 11 volts adjustment by the look of it. Colour. And man, that is some serious corrosion. We've got another wedge under here, so it could have been the wedges still. Or just some moisture build up. And I don't like the look of that brownish glue on there either. But at least there's no major corrosion on the end of that. This wire has just had its day. Goes to show I probably should keep a bit of that out of old televisions, because these days you might actually need it. Okay, that might be about all I can do with the board. I better be careful with that neck board there. Might even take that off. And you can disconnect that and the earth if need be. Now it's possible we do have a voltage regulation issue. There's a bit of a rusty pot there. Yeah, this has certainly seen better days now. It's rusty on the back on the RCAs. A couple of these caps don't look very good, so they may have deteriorated. Oh, look at that. That's our 11 volt set pot there. I think it's absolute just a rust bucket. I think we'll start by replacing that one. And there is a bit of dodgy brownish looking glue. Luckily it just scrapes off easily. It's gone brittle. Doesn't seem to be corroding anything though. Now that switch needs a clean too, while I think of it. Now, interestingly, we've got Tatung written on the colour delay line, made in Taiwan. I think Tatung took over one of the British TV manufacturers. Was it Decca or someone? One of the not so good brands. Decca put out there, had some rather primitive valve hybrid colour TVs in Australia in the early or the mid 70s, and they were way behind in technology than anything else. And yeah, a lot of the picture tubes and stuff didn't seem to last in them very well. Not that I had a lot to do with them, but I sort of saw the end of them, but I don't think most of them lasted more than 10 years. So they were mostly gone by around the mid 80s, I think. But yeah, Tatung is a company, so it could be a Tatung made, if that's how you even pronounce it. Tatung. But yeah, I believe they were big in Britain for making sets under one brand or another. I think they actually bought out a factory over there and improved the quality of the components and everything. Unfortunately, British TVs had pretty bad quality components, as did most European TVs. I was never a fan of any of them because just you couldn't really fix the things up and sell them, or even do repairs on them necessarily without them coming back. Actually, that's not the 11 volt pot, I don't think. So I wonder if that's that's actually maybe in the vertical, that rusty one. Where do I see the 11 volts? Colour AGC. Oh, 11 volts was over there. Ah, so that's our vertical pot. Oh, that's probably why our vertical's out. For some reason I thought the 11 volts was there. I guess the width is still good, so maybe we do have good horizontal voltage and everything. We've just got a vertical, lack of vertical. Now the question is, can I, well at least we've got the other TV, because I'm probably not going to be able to read this pot to see what value it used to be. We might be able to measure it, but chances are it's not going to measure right. So we might get the resistive element still measuring, if we're lucky. Ah, look at it, just rust and rubbish. Yeah, that's just rubbish. I don't think we're going to get any measurements or be able to read that at all. And one of the leads is still stuck in the board. That's got it. This other one's a bit rusty. Looks like some more brown glue going down the side of the line output there. See, originally it started like that yellowy contact adhesive, I think, and then it goes harder and possibly absorbs moisture and becomes corrosive. Oh, so that's a yoke coupling cap. That could be dicky. That's a bipolar 10 mic 50 volt. This other blue thing looks very cooked. Doesn't mean it's faulty, but I probably should measure those. That might be the screen or something. High voltage cap for the picture tube. Let's just check that they're not charged up. I think that was one of them. The yoke one most likely won't be. That's in there. And that'd be the yoke connector. So yeah, a lot of these little ones had these coupling caps to the yoke. Bipolar electrolytics. Used to see them in computer terminals and stuff as well. Usually monochrome ones. Well, I guess they were mostly monochrome as why. 0.47. 0.08, so they're probably fine. Might have to whip the back off the other one. Oh, interesting, this has actually got covers over those top screws. Makes sense, I guess I would have made them look a bit prettier than the rusty old ones the other one had. From sitting out in the open. It's not going to come off though. They probably break when you get off, or they're just like a little stick-on label thing. It's all soft plastic. But of course they don't want to come off. Maybe I need a knife blade or something. Typical. Amazingly it landed on the other bench, so I found that one. Didn't think I'd see it again. But normally these sort of things are pretty easy to get going. I think some of these little Rovers, the line output transformers died in certain ones. I seem to remember something like a Rover that had 40 line outputs in it, but I think it was a smaller TV than these even. Yeah, that's already got the screws out of the circuit board, so someone's pinched them. These backs are absolutely hopeless. Completely out of balance with a great big transformer hanging in there. So the same sort of Samsung tube. I guess I'm going to have to do the same and dismantle everything. I'll take the knobs off first this time. Come on. I don't think I actually have to take that plastic out, but it makes it a lot easier to get to those clips. This is already unclipped from the board, so might have been bounced out of there at some stage or something. Well, that one comes out a lot easier at least. Let's remove the socket again. So what am I looking for over here somewhere? That one. SVR9. Interesting what it is across. Is that the one? That must be it. The one pin's not even connected. 321 ohms, so that seems a bit weird. What's it say on it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it actually says 300 ohms. Jeez, that's a weird value for a trim pot, I thought. Maybe that's a standard one now. Usually they're in the Ks, at least in circuits. You don't normally see below 1K. Most of them are 5 or 10 or something. Let's see if we can find anything. We've got a 500, there's a 500 ohm I think. 500 Lin. Oh, I've got a 500 ohm. Well, that'll do because only 2 of the pins are connected, so it doesn't really matter what the resistance of the element is in these, as long as the wiper covers the range we need. So we'll put a brand new one in there. I think there's still another pin in that one too. I didn't realise that pin broke off. Still a broken off pin in that hole. the other side. And here it comes. Is that it? There we go, we've got a hole again now. That's better. Well, I don't even need to solder that one because it's not connected to anything. Yeah, the capacitors in this one look a bit better. So it's a 2200 microfarad 16 volt, that big fried one. So it's only a low voltage. Probably across the 12 volts or something, or 11 volts, whatever it is. Let's try hooking it back up and see if we get more of a picture. But, of course, we've got the problem that we've got to get a power supply onto this thing. Can I just put 12 volts into it? Yeah, I've got some loose sockets here too. I think that's only the headphone. I need to resolder that while I'm looking at it. Especially the antenna one. Now that must be our 12 volt DC socket. DC 12 volts positive tip. I think it's about time I hooked one of these up permanently to the power supply because they all seem to be the same size and the same polarity. This thing should draw more like 3 or 4 amps, I think. They're definitely higher current than the little ones. But we've got nothing being drawn at the moment. Nothing at all, that's a worry. Oh, which one was the power switch? That one. Still nothing. And now it works. What the hell is happening? 2 amps is pulling, that's not that bad. Yeah, but we had other issues, didn't we? No audio. Well, we've got a raster back nearly. What are we on? Are we on AV input or too many variables here? That's the tuner's back. Could it be it's muting because it's got no signal? Not impossible. Yeah, of course, right near the high voltage. Yeah, now we've got some overscan a bit. So still no audio. Didn't seem like the tuner was getting power. Oh, there's a bit of colour just flicked up. What was that about? I think I'll try to slide that in further. Okay, pattern generator, where art thou? And now it's not reading again. There it goes. Oh, now we seem to have some possible signs of tuning. Pattern generator's on. It's looking like it's trying to tune now. Oh, there we go. What on earth? Oh, yeah, that'll be that. We've got colour bars. Oh, the height's gone back down again now. I think we've got a little bit of fold over at the top maybe. Do we have a linearity adjustment? Still no audio, but do we have a speaker at the moment? I don't think we do we? No speaker. That could be an issue. Oh, we've got a headphone output. Murata tuner from Japan in it. TDA 4505. TV on a chip, I think, from Philips. It's a bit of a mix of everything. There's a Philips something else there as well. Might be the... is that colour or something? Maybe it's not a full TV on a chip. If I go from earphone to RCA, and plug into there, fingers crossed we get something. Oh. Sounds like we do have a volume after all. So it's just muting probably. Oh, now I've lost it again. Is that just this connector? Yeah, I think that's all it is. Well, those sockets didn't look too good. Let's, remove the RF. And it mutes, so I wasn't expecting a little TV like this to have that function. So it's got muting on snow. And that's largely running again except my ooh. Oh, that's the power connectors is dodgy as for some reason. I think that's the power supply or that little socket that I got plugged in. Maybe that's got the wrong size pin on that plug. But the vertical seems to be dropping. Well, it was turned around a fair bit before. It should really be set when the set's warmed up a bit anyway. That's a fairly good clean picture, good purity. Well, it's a little bit out one corner, but we haven't degaussed it, I don't think. Yeah, pretty sharp picture. From memory, this had a good tube in it. It wasn't a high hours one or anything. Oh, I can probably put that one partly back together. So that's just showing the effects of being kept in the damp environment. There's bits of rubbish down in there they need cleaning out. Oh, we do have to fix that Aquadag connector at some point. Where's one of these? Yeah, they're not really held in by much, just the screws on the bottom of the TV. I think they sort of slide out again, given half a chance. Maybe we do need to clip it in anyway, because I can't see where those clips are. And when did we have a blue wire in a way? I don't remember that. So get that, that's it. Check everything's coming through the front. None of it is, of course. There we go. You've got to just tweak it so the tuning pot knob and stuff comes through. Yes, we can put a couple of screws back in that. But no more luck, I'll probably need it apart again if I do. Yeah, kind of a flimsy way of doing it, but at the same time it's probably enough to do it that way. Or maybe the actual socket's dodgy, I don't know what's going on. It's quite a good fit. But it seems to be this positive connector does not like to make contact. Are we on still? Probably not. No. Very weird. Yeah, it's just suddenly, it's like this clip lead's dicky. I think they've got some other issue. It's more likely something to do with the Can't see a dry joint there, but I wonder if this socket's broken or something. Sometimes you gotta melt the solder and push on the pins. You might find one broken or something. I think they're alright. But I have had those sockets, they seem to be alright on the surface, but one of the pins is actually busted off. It's probably a bit corroded and horrible. I wonder if I've probably got another socket somewhere I could replace it with. Multimeter. Or is this a bit tarnished? I don't know. Seemingly not connected. Now that's not likely to be this, I don't think. That's fine. So is that just corroded? I'll put another one in there. Although the pin's a bit big on that, maybe. Let's see. Problem is they made so many different sizes of the pins on these things. Doesn't look at all bad, although the earth connector looks bad, but ironically it's not the one that's playing up. Does that still fit? Yeah, it still fits our plug. Well, let's replace it, and if it still plays up, well, we know it wasn't the socket after all, but that one just barely gets in the holes in the circuit board. The pins are a bit wider. But no point messing around with a dodgy DC socket if that's what it is. Yeah, even this one doesn't want to tin very well. There we go. Probably getting quite old. That's a new one. But it's, yeah, I don't think how old it probably... How long since I bought that one? Be 30 years probably. $20 to $30 anyway. That fires up. No problem. Okay, before we do anything, let's throw the old one in the bin. Don't want to think that's a good part we salvaged out of something. Let's get rid of that. And we've lost our tuning. Yeah, I think my pattern generator might be a bit dodgy. It's getting some weird colour bar things, or colour banding. If I tap on it, it gets rid of some of it, or temporarily. It's doing that on the other TV. Let's shut that up. Now, which one of these controls is which? That one's seized, I think. That's either contrast or brightness. I think it's brightness. Well, I might be a liar. That's the brightness, I think. And that should reduce our saturation a bit. But there's patterning on the monochrome, even when I turn the colour down. But at least we've got a full screen again. And yeah, not looking bad at all. And the audio works, so that TV I think is basically fixed. So let's have a look at the other one. So I'm pretty sure that had some sort of small picture or similar. At least we've got everything sorted out with that one to quick plug it in and repair it. Now with that rusty old pot go, I've got to throw that in the rubbish as well. That spring might as well go in the rubbish because, well, I guess it can be stretched out again and used, but I've probably got something better. And really I should put some new wedges in that TV, but chances are that yoke will probably sit there fine just from the mount on the back. As long as it, I guess if it doesn't get too hot or anything, it should be alright. Might as well put the audio in and see what actually works on this thing. And the power switch is not accessible. I think I'm going to have to slide this board in or take it out, one or the other. Where's that power? Now we're on. And we've got a similar, bloody thing's short now, isn't it? That's the problem with using these things, isn't it? Still off. Yeah, still nothing going on. Oh, now it's going. What is... Every one of these things has some dodgy... Tell me this has got a dodgy socket as well. I think it's dodgy somewhere else. I can smell a bit of ozone from it. It was firing a few times. Load on, definitely nothing firing up. And start the socket and move inwards, I guess. 12 volts, no problem. Is that the voltage regulator on the heatsink? They're the sort of things that get dry joints. It does look like one of the joints has been fairly hot on it. I'm getting minus figures here. There's a fuse as well. Let's just go back there for the earth so I know which one's which. 12 volts on the other side of the fuse, that's alright. Nothing. Or is it the horizontal output? Well, where's, no, that's the horizontal, oh god, there's dry joints in that area, and including on the horizontal output possibly. Yeah, not good over there. Oh yes, that's the transformer in on that other pin. That makes perfect sense. We better find, well, that would be the power switch. Is it still switched on? Actually, that one's been replaced. I get a feeling, now that I think about it, there was a Rover TV with power switch issues. So maybe I did see some of these early on, probably when they're fairly new. That sounds kind of familiar. Well, that's got a dry joint on that line output. That might even be our issue. But that should come to this transistor, I would think. Let's just measure random pins until we find it. There should be two double pole, double throw switches. 12 there, 12 after they're joined together, I think. Should be 12 volts into there, I would guess. Maybe not. Well, it must be, yeah, that must be the other side. So it's double pole. Yeah, that switch is not switching. Ah, if I hold the switch in, ooh, something nasty sounding is going on there. I hope my line output isn't faulty. That's in the line output transformer. Let's just solder a few of these dodgy connections, I think, before I do anything. It might just be the tubes. High voltage arcing or something around the cap there. Better turn it off at the power supply, I guess, because in case that switch decides to work again. But yeah, I seem to remember something about these. And for some reason I'm thinking CRT TV service division with the agents. To repair them under warranty. But don't quote me on that. That voltage regulator transistor too. Just to reduce any issues from obvious problems like that. So I may have to bypass that switch. But I can smell ozone, which is not a good sign. I just hope it's not the line output transformer, but I'm sure this set actually did something. God knows. I'll have to turn the lights off and see what it does. I think I'm going to solder a link over that switch. Hopefully the other contacts do whatever they should. I think there was the power part of it, because they were like one of those audio switches. I don't think they were really rated for 2 amps DC like this thing's asking of it. That was probably the problem with them. Yeah, it's the sort of switch you just switch your inputs in with a boombox or something. Now, does this have? Well, this is corroding in the same spot, and this hasn't been in my shed. So I'm guessing those yokes those wedges want to go. So let's hope that's not the problem. That has been in my shed for a little while, but not long enough to cause that much damage, I don't think. So there's obviously something corrosive around there, but let's just hope we don't find the yoke is damaged. Trying not to break that, but of course it had to break. Oh, that's greasy. That is a greasy yoke. When you see little, just looks like droplets of water on there. I can probably get it on my finger. I'm not sure if it is actually water, whether they absorb water. There's another rusted off spring, I think, or getting there. Yeah, whether it absorbs water, but I had a feeling it was something oily rather than just water. I'm sure I checked it once upon a time. And I'm going to have to do a quick patch up job on this. Always something extra. But that's the problem with working on this old stuff. But yeah, I had some feeling, I don't know how I would have tested it. I certainly wouldn't have tasted it, but maybe I'll put some of that stuff on water to see if it was oily or just water. Great, now I've got a big blob of soldering down in there. Can't remember. Yeah, I can't really solder to that stuff, so I think we'll just have to twist it a lot. And that's jointed the plastic now. I just want to put some tension back on this so that we've got a good earth. Let's just get a bit of dodgy earthing going there, because we don't want this. Where's that? That's joined there. That should be enough just to do for now. But yeah, the problem is when you pull one of these wedges and you see either the end of it burnt or green verdigris on it. Oh, like that one. Oh dear. That's green. Greeny blue. That's rotten copper. That's what we did not want to see. I think I'm probably going to have to pull the yoke out. It's definitely going to be pulled out to clean it really anyway. Just taking the wedges out is not enough. That wet stuff will be on the yoke as well, and busy eating away at your windings. I wish I'd known these had that. That one's not too bad, because I would have known to rip that out ages ago, because this one's probably been sitting around for at least a couple of years. But this is going to be a thing. Even in these Taiwanese sets, but of course it's a Samsung tube. I think that's a Samsung yoke, so the whole thing probably came out of the Samsung factory ready to go. Okay, we'll zoom in a little bit closer. I'm just going to undo the clamp on this magnet assembly, and I'm keeping going much more than you need to, because I might even have to take the screw rod out. I want to remove the thing. I guess before I do that, I've got the white stuff on it. You really want to mark these, make sure they're marked in case this ring comes loose and all the magnets. There's like a clamping ring. We don't want our magnets to come loose this bit here. If you turn it one way, it just winds back a bit and loosens all the others off. So don't try and turn these until you've released the pressure there. But now I've got the problem. These Samsungs were well known for this plastic going hard. But what I'm going to do is mark it, making sure we get a bit of black pen on the actual bits. Bit of a horrible job, because we're up against the glass and stuff. Oh, that's prizing up, that's good. But these sit right on where the heaters are in the tube, so they run hot. And the plastic is low quality, or lower than it needs to be. Didn't have the problem with Japanese TVs, mainly Samsungs. Samsungs I think were the worst of all. But we want to prise each one up a little bit just to loosen it off that. It's on like a fiberglass tape. I think the other way is get your knife. Just remembering we're pressing against fragile glass here. It's not that fragile, but fragile enough, I guess. Fragile enough to treat it with some care and try not to scratch it with your knife or screwdriver. It shouldn't happen, but unless you really cut the blade into it. Yeah, I think this is what I used to do when they were still flexible like this one. Thankfully these didn't do long hours, so normally these little sets didn't, so they didn't get completely cooked. The 14cm and 20cm, well, usually this would all be flying off. When I was doing this, I'd have to break it off on purpose to get it loose. That's not bad. We should be able to grab this whole assembly. Whoops, so there goes our little, doesn't matter if it turns a bit, but our bit that clamps it, and you've just got to twist and twist and twist. There we go. Hoping that the magnets don't break or anything. Sometimes the whole things go a bit brittle, but let's see, even though this has no clamp on it, very hard to get off. Enough of our black pen marks survived. Can't really, and you've got to make sure you get some on the glass, because putting black on black doesn't help. And this we shouldn't have to loosen off too much. That's probably enough. But because these are a bit dodgy, I like to overdo it. And again, we just grab and rotate. This we're going to have to pull the plug. And we have freed up our yoke, which is probably going to be bad. Ooh, it's not too bad. Even that green patch. I'm going to use some methylated spirits because it dissolves oily stuff if it is oily, and it evaporates quickly. And see what our green stuff does. Ooh, it's actually come off. But We're going to go a little bit further. Let's scrub that right out of there. I'm glad. I was almost expecting when I saw that green that this thing had already fried up, because I know it did have a smaller picture. Usually you get like bendy sort of picture, smaller, weird trapezoid type distortion, and lots of really bad convergence sort of errors in it. That actually looks mint, but it must have got in a little bit into the windings if it's gone green. But just to be sure, I'm going to use a little bit of silicone and force that in there. Because if the insulation's gone on these windings, they'll short to other windings. You know, if there's at least two of them that are gone, they may short out, and then you'll get a big brown ring normally burnt right around the outside of this coil, and you'll get your convergence problems, picture issues, and smoke coming out of it basically if you leave it running long enough. Or some sort of lacquer or something to do on there, anything that can insulate it a bit. Let's get these horrible wedges in the bin. I used to save wedges out of old computer monitors that weren't worth fixing. They had like these grey or white coloured ones that were some sort of synthetic, or more synthetic than these ones. I think these are some sort of natural rubber, or don't know, just a bad rubber. One thing I might as well do is we'll remove any remains of it on here. And those, yeah, white ones never caused any problems. I usually just put one under the top so the yoke couldn't fall down, sort of thing. Unfortunately, I threw all that stuff out years ago. But I was almost thinking you could probably just mould up a bit of that silicone rubber into a rough wedge shape and just let it set. Just make a little rough mould up or something, so that might be something to do some stage. So there is a supply of the things. I guess someone can probably 3D print them out of something. I don't know whether they really need to be particularly flexible or anything. Probably wouldn't matter if it was a bit of hard plastic just to stop the yoke. Obviously it doesn't matter much in this, but just so it doesn't bend down over time, probably from heat or whatever. It could potentially, heat and gravity, it could slump down a bit, taking the purity out a bit and maybe distorting the picture a little bit in shape. I think we were back a little bit more there, about there was it. And of course try and get it central because it'll tilt the picture. I shouldn't do it up too tight really, because we probably have to tweak that a little bit, but that's trying to bend to one side a little bit as well. God, I haven't done this in a long time, but I did it many times. Either because the yoke was faulty or the tube was faulty. If the tube was faulty, you just throw the magnet assembly away with the old tube, but if you want to put a tube out of one TV into another and it's got a different yoke, you'd have to take the old yoke off. Say if I got this Samsung tube and wanted to put it in a Sharp or something, as these tubes probably fit those little KA 910 Phillips and stuff. I guess that's the point. I could have used one of those tubes since I've got three of them in this TV. Man, that is tight. I'm almost tempted to take that. I reckon that tape's ripping or something. Yeah, look at it, it's just... Might even take some of that tape off. It's just nothing but trouble sometimes. I don't know how critical it is that it's even there. But if you can get rid of some of it, it may help. Once it starts tearing up, it's pretty well had it. Yeah, that's enough just to make life a bit easier. And that's about where we had it. Even though some of our pins rubbed off a bit. I mean, that's not going anywhere anyway, but we'll put the clamp back on. And if you put this exactly back where it was, all your pictures should be lined up still. Because trying to get another one of these magnet assemblies on a from another TV to work on a different tube, and that can be quite a pain. Can be done with TVs that aren't too critical, unlike computer monitors or something, but trying to swap tubes and yokes and stuff in computer monitors is generally not worth the trouble. Very hard to get the picture good enough for a computer monitor use again, where there's fine text and stuff. I did try it on 1 or 2 occasions and then thought, no, forget it. If you can get the whole assembly out of another one the same model, it's worth doing. But TVs, if a lot of these tubes, especially these thin neck ones, have the same pinouts, so you can just swap the tubes. And the 34cm with the thicker neck on them, most of those are the same until you go back right into the 70s, where there's all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff, and delta guns and all sorts of other oddball things. And I spot some more brown glue. But yeah, most of them were, if there was a thin neck and thick neck were the only differences really, and you could swap any tube between any TV pretty much. Besides Sony's, of course, which had the Trinitron. And I think most of their Trinitrons were different to each other. But normally the mechanical mounts were the same. But some of these brackets in some sets, they moved them to the front of the rim band, some on the back. So there's a few niggly little things like that, but for a while there in the 90s in particular, everything was swappable, and often with anything from the mid-80s onwards. I think we should probably fire this up again and see if we've got any arcing or anything. Whoop, took a little while to kick in. Ooh, something's cooking. Is it? Or is it just the keeping an eye on the line output transformer? I can hear EHT arcing. Let's turn the light off. Maybe it's just around the older cap. Certainly pretty much going, but I'm not seeing a picture. I'm not seeing any heaters. Oh no, we do have a picture. What do we got? Vertical collapse maybe. I want to put my hand on the screen control when it's something's making that noise. Oh no, we've got a rat. Oh, what a weird raster. That's not what I remember it doing, but if we dim it down a bit, we just got a weird band. Turn it up, we've got the usual sort of retrace. Something's arcing. You can see it in the background of the wound up screen there, but we've got a full raster there. No idea what that is, but that is, well, I have some idea. Maybe it's horizontal ringing, I think. If you blow some moisture-laden air like comes out of your lungs onto this, you can sometimes find out where it's... Ooh. That's on the lopped, I think. Ooh, there it goes. Look at that. Got an arc right there from that bit to the heatsink. Oh, that's going to come out now. Yeah, there it is. It's on the camera. Oh, that's not good. Actually stops when I turn up the screen control. Oh well, we're getting some exciting stuff out of this one for a change. But you either love it or hate it, I guess. I actually quite enjoy a bit of arcing. Something a bit different. Nothing like a YouTube video full of power poles and substations and stuff going up. It's kind of horrible but interesting at the same time. And a nice smell of ozone in the air, which is toxic. At this sort of level, you don't want to be breathing the stuff. but it's good at far up in the atmosphere. Well, a bit of a pain if the line output's faulty in it, because that's almost impossible to get. There is some brown glue in there, which is not good. Weird for it to be coming from the ferrite. So maybe it's coming up this metal clamp on the ferrite, which probably goes right under the transformer. I wonder if there is some brown glue or something. There was some on that transistor I just scraped off. Looks like there has been some on the horizontal output as well. How could that be an issue? Yeah, well, horizontal output's meant to be insulated from the case. I'm not sure brown glue makes a very good insulator. And again, that is that insulated? I don't think it is actually insulated in this case. The heatsink's not connected to anything. What are we on? AV input probably. Okay. Still nothing, I don't think. Oh, there's a bit of snow coming up. Still got that weird thing on the screen. So it's probably only just because I've got it turned up at all. Just gonna watch this thing doesn't arc onto me. Oh, there's some brightness. Certainly lacking focus. And a bit hard to get it focused. So that could be an idea where something's faulty. Ooh. Oh, we've got a perfectly good picture there. Yeah, besides a little bit of low height. So yeah, it gives a reasonable picture. Don't know what happened to that weird image that was on there. Maybe it was just because everything was turned down. It's got some sort of dirt on the inside of it. We're a bit low on height, which is that pot there, I think. Yeah, I can't get the focus right, so that's probably what's leaking a bit. And it's doing some weird stuff, which has kind of settled down now. Maybe it's just the antenna or something. Or cheating. The focus doesn't come in perfect. It's not too bad, but we're certainly losing a bit of high tension there somewhere. So that's the focus. I wonder if it's coming out around, because there is brown glue around that focus, doesn't help. Okay, we're going to connect to that aquadag line there. And a little pop. because I'll actually pull that line output and have a look at it. And there's a focus pin usually off to the side somewhere, square type or rectangular pin that you don't want to forget to unsolder. Yeah, I've got to sworn this TV had a small picture or something, so God knows what it did when I originally turned it on. Yeah, there's a few clips as well, and just carefully jiggle it free. Make sure all your pins are loose. I just want to inspect this thing because yeah, there's brown glue up under there. And of course you can unsolder the screen connection there, and this should pop off somehow. And there's a clip on that side and just slide backwards. It's usually a clip both sides somewhere. We've got an earth there. It's coming slowly. And there's where you can solder your focus on if you're replacing one of these. Pretty simple job. Well, if it didn't have a hole through the stuff before onto the brown glue, it does now. I think I just tore that a little bit, but this glue is hanging on really hard. We'll put a bit of silicone over it just to make sure. Usually you get like a puncture hole somewhere in this black plastic, but this one's weird because it's nothing obvious. We do have something that can come out of this focus pot housing. I think what I might do with this one is clean it up and silicone it up a bit, go over the whole thing, but particularly around this focus area. But often when they go there, once they start burning up, they just keep burning up. You can't just fix a bit of a hole in them. Once the plastic starts melting and burning, you've got shorted turns or something horrible inside. But occasionally when they do this, some of the ones with the leads that sort of have a plastic clip on them, like the Phillips and stuff, just sealing up around that bit will often fix them. There's no sign of any punctures in the case. It was actually arcing from here somewhere across, which is what I wanted to see underneath it, in case there's something obvious like brown glue, which is not impossible, there still is. But that sort of noise, it's the high voltage, it's either the focus or the EHT. No other voltage is enough because the focus is up around the 10,000 volts. But that clip's just around ferrite. I mean, ferrite's just magnetic particles in a kind of ceramic material, shouldn't conduct anything normally. Maybe at those voltages it does, but I'm going to seal it around the back of this focus thing. maybe around that as well, and maybe around this general area a bit. I could always cut a bit of that heatsink off or something if it reduces it, but ideally you'd get a new line output transformer. What is it? A 4370 9002 Kuo Jan 8829. So this was made just before week 29 of 88. The TV was week 35, I think. So let's seal that up with a bit of silicone and we'll come back tomorrow and see what it does. Oh, I'll give them that about 12 hours time to cure. I've gone around the focus bit just in case, around where there's a bit of brown glue down the controls there, right around the focusing. Probably could have gone a bit higher on that, but we'll try that and see what it does. Better put this focus cover back on the picture tube socket, or we'll probably have arcing up there as well. Get these wires out of the way. Well, once it's got all the joints resoldered on it, I guess. Make sure we put this cap back on, because it's a bit embarrassing when you turn it back on with that loose and get arcing all over the place. But it can happen if you're not careful. Might just clean out, there is a bit of dust under there. Probably, kind of think I might as well give it a proper clean. While we're at it, might as well clean her up. In case there's any arcing going on there. And with these, it's usually best just to peel up one bit of it, put one of the tabs in under the little rim in the glass, and then push the other one under, making sure they're both attached. So will it make any difference? Who knows? And that's right, I've got to see if I can find, I do have a couple of old TVs, I think only one's got a tube in it. Might have a bit of this braiding left. It's the problem these days, it's hard to find even simple stuff like that that just would have been sitting on your rubbish pile once. One of the fun parts of the modern world. Okay, let's turn the power on. And nothing happened. Probably need to have that power switch in. Do you mind? Oh, now we're going. Still got a dodgy socket on this one, maybe. I can still hear some arcing. Yeah, it's still making a noise. That's a shame. It's quietening down. Sometimes putting a screwdriver near it will help. Ooh. Something was changed around there. Maybe that's just the beam current or something. Picture's good at least. Oh. Don't know what the other half of that on off switch does, but nothing obvious just then. Well, I think I'll put this one back together. It's basically working. And yeah, really in need of a line output transformer to make it perfect, but the case is a bit rough anyway, so it's never going to be perfect, I don't think. But I think we'll give this one a bit of a polish up. The other thing here, it almost needs this clear bit peeling off the tube because there is dust in there. I think I noticed a bit of dirt, and of course it's got scratches on it. They're only a real kind of flimsy. If I press that a bit, you can see the top starting to give way, and now the bottom's starting to, with a bit of a push. We could probably get that started. I think we're going to have to use a knife. Need something very fine to get in there. Even then it doesn't seem to want to. If I press it a bit, that's it. Oh, there we go, that's on one. Now that is definitely glue there. At least it's not brittle. And there we go, just see a bit of double-sided tape. Yeah, quite dirty in there. And besides my fingerprints, there is a bit of dirt on the back of that. So that's the kind of thing you've got to do if you want to restore these things. And to be fair, the plastic's gone whitish in there, so that needs a polish. But I'll give this thing a bit of a clean up and see what it comes up like. Well, clean and a bit of polish did wonders for this one, though I've only partially done it. But compare the front on it now. Came out really nice. I haven't bothered gluing this back in, just popped it in there. I don't think there's any real need to glue it in there, but that really needs taken off sometime and given a really deep polish. But yeah, I've only just done around the front bit really. Had a little bit of a go at that to see if those circles had come off. Still a bit of polish on there, but they didn't. And obviously I only do this on a TV that has like the plastic that is the same colour, not one. A lot of them have paint on them. And if you start cutting into that, you'll probably cut through it and make a real mess of it. But I just used, I've got some car cutting compound, but this was a little bit too light on the amount of cut it did. Wasn't very aggressive stuff. So I saved that for the second coat. I just got some of this metal polish and either put it on the sponge that went with this other stuff, although I found a bit of paper towel seemed to be even a bit more aggressive just to get that sort of whiteness off it, the layer of sun damage. And once you cut through that, yeah, go over it with some of this car stuff and it really put a beautiful shine on it. Came out a bit nicer than I thought, so it shows how nice this TV would have looked when it was actually a new set. So yeah, quite a nice looking little TV, though they still got these sort of cheap feel to it with the switches and stuff, but at least it shows it was quite nice looking. Just a shame about that speaker grill. When I was messing around, another piece of it fell out, so I might try gluing that back in. I guess the other option is I could get that other cabinet off the other one and put the good TV in here, and maybe even put the whole back on there and then spray paint it or something, but you could just swap the handle over possibly and spray paint that, though I'm not sure how easy they are to get in and out. Whether this piece is a separate screw on, but it looks like it is loose, so maybe possible, but at least with the red one sort of working. I'll try it again when the silicon's fully set on that, but I suspect it's going to keep arcing. But yeah, surprised how much better that looks. It's quite amazing. So it'll make a nice display piece. If nothing else, doesn't really have to run. But it'd be nice if I can use it a little bit. So we'll get back on that black one and finish that off. Okay, giving this one a quick polish as well. The black one, put it back together. Screen's still got quite a bit of damage, but I did pull the plastic off again and clean the dust out from behind and give it a clean. But this plastic could really do with a good clean up. Oh, patent generator's going funny. I'm going to get onto that in a minute and fix it, I think. Got some sort of dry joints or something in it after years of use. But this little thing's going. Again, distorts pretty badly when you turn it up. But most of these did not have great amplifiers in them. Man, the patent generator really is getting bad at the moment. Well, that's all going. I just twisted up the wire on the aquadag there, the tube ground. That really wants replacing at some stage. I've still got the old spring out of it here. I might have chucked that spring away since it's so rusty. There's the remains of one of the wedges, so we just saved it from the wedge cancer killing the yoke. At least I've got onto it just in time for that. It might have lasted a few more years, who knows, but the fact the other one was watery, at least these ones weren't watery or oily, whatever it is that comes out of those things. This one wasn't corrosive, the other one was. Yeah, do these sets of these have automatic degaussing there, so I don't think we've got a degaussing button anywhere. Maybe only when you go, well, actually, why am I running it off 12 volts anymore? I don't need to run it on 12 volts now, that was just while I had it apart. Let's put it back into the 240. Get so used to doing that, you don't even notice. Dunno, was that just the volume making that noise? Let's put it on a red screen. Yeah, I think I got rid of most of it. There was a little bit of a patch on the side just from me moving it around. But anyway, that's another couple of sets. Still a little bit of it there. Let's degauss it. Well, part of that was just from me lifting it up, of course. They tend to get out a bit when you move the tubes around. And it'll probably get out now if I degauss it and then put it back, but that's fine now. Excuse the pap generator. It's got a brown line on it now, so there we go. We can do with a bit more colour in that. If I can find the pot. That's about the maximum it's got. But that's the Rover Jumbos. Both running again. The other one's got the line output transformer fault. It's also got a faulty switch, which is just bypassed at the moment. That also needs the earth band around the tube replacing. So they're not quite finished, but they're good enough for the moment. And yeah, this one just died from sitting around in the garage for too long in the damp. It's kind of ironic that the yoke is better in that one than the other one. But maybe the cold damp weather actually helps prevent them from going like that. Maybe it's heat and humidity or something. But at least we've got those two going. So I think I've got one more 10-inch Sony PVM. It's only a base model, little portable one with the composite input only, I think. Certainly doesn't have RGB input. And then there is a 12-inch TV. I think that might be the next one we'll go up to. Might as well go up in size. So that's the two of them side by side. Not in the best condition, but they look a lot better with a bit of a polish. Shame the handle's missing and the speaker grill's broken, but from the front it looks quite good, that TV. And I did have a look online to see if I could find a transformer for these, but Wagner virtually have nothing anymore. But at least they're going again. So we'll get on to the next one. So thanks for watching.